They got Doom as they're pushing
There you
high
go.
bro. They got Doom as well.
Watch out this May.
Above is Doom.
Good counter charge. This is just you have fade. You need to use it. You can't just assume that it's not going to hit you. Like this is a if you hear it and it's really loud, you just have to use it. Like or you have to know exactly where it is and you can LOS it. But
Doom behind.
I'm gonna focus on this. Sorry, it's low.
Doom low
Maze,
behind.
Maze low, Maze low.
I'm anti.
The objective is now active.
You're low, Ryan. You're low, Ryan.
Can you get some heal aura? Oh.
yeah, you guys lose this just because this compared to this, you either have to play very quickly when you get the Rhine pick, or because you don't have any healing afterwards. But like you guys are even, but not really. You have to. It ends up with two different playstyles. So like they have to play very slow because they have the sustain, but you guys have to play very fast. So you picked slow and you played into their hand.
I'm down.
Because there's this.
There, man.
Okay, I'm with you, Ryan.
No nade.
No
right
nade.
now.
If we're gonna
So your path was this. You end up here. That's the distance you should have covered. You probably lost 500 shield. So
push in them, I
let's use no 80 strafing and just walk forward.
get turn on speed. Ready?
You can 80 strafe, but you also have to press W while you do it.
Go.
Go. I'm gonna swing on this Ryan.
You have to be careful. Your job is to be either on the wall or behind your team, I guess, because your aura can go in front of you. This is just unlucky.
Keep hitting me.
Ryan is right. Back up. Oh.
Walt.
Yeah, so you have to actually use your shield to engage, and you have to actually engage. You can't just like side to side it, because that's not really. That's just being slow, and that's just wasteful.
We're down 2, we've got to play it conservatively.
Down 2 is a reset. So in the scheme of counting, you are -2 right now. This is actually a little more just because Rhine should count Rhine and your bigger healing. If you have two main heals, it doesn't really matter. But if you're playing sort of this kind of comp where you have like a Lucio Moira or a Lucio Ana, or like a Zen Moira or a Zen Ana, or even like a Brig Moira, if you're these two people count a little more. So I would even say this is like pretty bad. Like this is -3 or 4. So in the scheme of things, -2, you'd have to use a lot of ults to like make it even, basically. So you can consider more or less one ult is equal to one person. So like they have the ability to pull out 8 people, right? You guys have the ability to pull out 6. So they should probably win this if they use everything. That just factors into ult economy. But right now you're -2, you have no ults, so you actually can't even get back to full 6 right now, even if you put out 2 ults. You literally can't because you don't have the ults. If you did have 2 ults, you could maybe get back to there because you could ult this Mei, you could ult this Rhine, and they'd both die, and then you'd be even, right? But since you're -2 and you have no ults, sucks to suck, you lose this fight. You should reset, or you should reset. So get out as fast as possible, or reset into the enemy team. Either one is fine. Normally, you should. So basically, on the timeline of fights, right? Here's 0. -1, -2, +1, +2. So Here, who really cares? You may or may not lose, depending. Here, you should really start thinking about a reset. Oh, this is really hard to draw. Reset. Here, it's still like maybe. Here it's a very neutral fight, so you can ult to win. And it's a good time to ult, basically, if you want to keep it going. And like if it's this is it's a good time to ult, basically. And here you should stop ulting. Like this is 1. Hopefully it's 1, basically. If they start ulting you back, you might want to ult them, but like this is more or less 1. And so like it's pretty even on both sides of it. Like you don't want to keep ulting after you've won, you don't want to keep ulting after you've lost. And if it's very even, you want to now start ulting, basically. So for example, in this fight, you lost 2. That's a good time to reset. Let's say in another fight, you lost your just go through here. You lost your Ashe, and they lost their Doomfist, right? At this point, you can start ulting still. There's no reason to not. Let's say your Reaper randomly shoots the Bride and they die, right? At this point, you might want to not ult just because the Rein on their side counts just as much as your Rein, so they count a little more. So maybe you don't want to, maybe you do. Maybe you want to get it out really fast. Like you want to win the fight really fast. Maybe you use an ult. Maybe you use 2. Maybe not. And so maybe they come back and use like Nanoblade or something, and you lose like 3. So now it's 2 to like 4. Now you have to reset. So they pushed back with ults, right? And there's nothing you could do. Well, you could, as they're doing it, you could ult, but right now, if the situation is 2v4, you don't want to ult because you're down 2. And that's that. So that's how really fights play out. And this is why counting is very helpful. And knowing what ults you have is very helpful. Knowing what their ults are in the scheme of things is less helpful than knowing and using your ults. But as you get better, that is a concern because you can counter them, you can use normal cooldowns to counter them, and so it actually matters when you have that for higher level play. But for right now, I think counting and knowing what ults you have is a pretty good starting place. You guys take forever to lose this.
Back up. Got your shield here.
Okay. You guys get out, a couple of you die, it's fine.
I'm gonna go in with Coalesce
Okay.
now.
If you hit that right,
Again, with the this is an early coalescence, no one is taking damage.
argue back.
Yeah, try your best to, if your team doesn't go forward, stay behind them. You want it to be like, you want this to be the situation, basically. Where the enemy team is over here. So you want this to be the situation that you're calling through your teammates into the enemy team, not you were standing over here or something, or standing here, calling just into the enemy team, or even just calling through your teammates. That's not good. Yeah, you guys get a lot of ults, but well, 2.
Okay, that happened.
You just get hard CC, that's fine.
You're gonna still have Mei ult.
Yeah, they're gonna have Blizzard.
Engage with Bob.
Did she just use her sleep?
That Reinhardt likes to charge, so she's
Yeah, turn Bob in.
Do you
Here
have
he
behind
comes.
us? Do you have behind us? Do you have
Bubble's pretty decent.
behind us?
Get run.
Behind.
Alright, run's gone.
Behind.
Pushing hard.
Pushing.
Speed on.
There we
Watch
go.
for me.
You didn't call Grav, so no one knows it's happening, besides the one person who's staring at it. You're all staring at a Mei instead, so...
Doom ulting.
You should be on a wall, or at least try to, because it's hard for a Doomfist to ult you on a wall. And you should also be on speed if a Doom ults.
Oh, you guys are way better.
The team is pretty good.
Doom ulting.
If you ever hear Meteor Strike, that's something where you sort of look around for your teammates and you try to shield them. Because the easiest thing you can do is put a shield right here, and it stops the Doomfist can only do damage here. They can't actually do damage over here. So that's why you look for a Doomfist ult. If you try to cut it, it's pretty easy to save your team.
Molting, molting.
It's the same thing as Doom Bomb.
Oh,
Yeah, you guys just lose this. It's fine.
Would I guess
We'll choke.
Objective.
I meant to say amp, not speed, sorry.
It's on the wrong side of the map. Get back.
Going left.
So on control, you amp out of spawn just because then you get. It's the same as waiting for amp, basically, except if you amp, basically you have this route or whatever. If you amp here, you close this distance faster, and then you also get your amp starting on cooldown. Or if you wait, you close this distance, and then if you amp here, you close this distance faster, but then you don't have amp. So yes and no. It really depends on your comp, but in most situations you should amp out of spawn.
Left with
Oh,
Ryan.
oh my god, I'm sorry. I was on the wrong side of the map. Get back.
I think they were confused by it.
Alright, Doom's left.
Oh,
Rest
sorry.
run.
Zarya one, Zarya one.
Sorry,
Zarya one.
low. I'm purple, I'm purple.
See ya.
Doom.
This is unlucky. You guys should have hard pushed that Zarya, but I mean,
Confused by it.
Alright, Doom.
like, if you only see a Zarya, it's not really a reason to shield it. You should just walk at her swinging.
Doom's left.
Oh,
Rest
sorry.
run.
Zarya one, Zarya one.
Sorry,
Zarya one.
low. I'm purple, I'm purple.
You still have armor. Purple doesn't really mean much. I mean, this is a good thing, but since you're not immediately, like, you don't see a threat of damage right now, so you shouldn't be that scared. You should just keep pushing the Zarya, but she gets out, so You should be on speed if anyone gets purple, just because you can't do shit.
Yeah.
Doom. He's low.
You need to start calling for help. You are getting hard frozen with a Mei. You can also flash your shield, and you shield dance by going back and forth, and it's harder to freeze you.
Yeah.
They got high
Big
ground.
gap.
Sorry, up top.
The objective is now active.
How did you end up over here?
He's low. Yeah.
They got high
Big
ground.
gap.
Sorry, up top.
Don't use your fade to put yourself in worse situations, or even to go save people. It's not worth it. You use your fade to save yourself, not other people.
The objective is
It's like the
now
first rule of medical care or like EMT training is you make sure that your situation is safe before putting others in, before helping people. You want to keep yourself out of harm's way so that you are not another victim.
Zarya caught me. Zarya caught me.
Can
Crap.
you get this Ryan? Ryan?
Because you faded into the enemy team.
Yeah, with you on this right. I am dead. Race. Last one I was fun.
Let's go to the. Yeah, we gotta go through the main here. Or through the side here. I don't want to get walled off.
Yeah,
I wonder who gets walled off in the next 5 seconds.
sounds good.
Wait, there's a name for this area. I just.
Dark.
I-
Your wall up, your wall up.
Good call.
Break wall, break wall, break wall.
You should still countercharge this.
Is this Ryan?
Oh, come on.
Ryan one.
He's dead, he's dead.
Get this Zarya, get this Zarya, get this
Doom's behind.
Drop him down.
Doom's
Do not make that.
I need heals.
I know. I'm trying. I'm trying. Doom's right behind us again.
And
Shit.
no nade.
I can't reach you. Oh god.
And it's gone, it's just Arya now.
I think this is actually a really good example of.
Ryan one.
Okay, so you're up 2.
He's dead, he's dead.
Get this Zarya, get this Zarya, get this
Doom's behind.
Down 1, so you're +1.
Drop him down.
Doom's
Do not make that.
even, +1.
I need heals.
I know, I'm trying. Doom's right behind us again.
And
Shit.
no nade.
I can't reach you. Oh, God.
Your healing actually goes farther than you think, I believe. It actually goes all the way up here. Like, it'll go past the Doomfist. You just have to actually get it on them.
Anna's gone. It's just Arya now.
You're +2. +1. Or... yeah, I think... yeah, +1. And now respawns come back, but, I mean, even respawns, so... still +1.
Zarya's
+2. What +2?
I need to save you. I need to do my ult.
This doesn't count as an ult. Stop calling it that. It's a cooldown.
Like, I'm out of heals.
Come back and spawn.
Again, you're putting your, like, you have to have awareness of where you're putting yourself. You can't just, like, blindly go into the enemy team with Coalescence.
Oh,
Lucy
God,
there.
combo.
walk to the base.
Targets.
Doom's low.
Doom's there. Oh, got purple.
Yeah, so I think you guys at some points were even. At those points, you can ult. You were at even for a very short amount of times, but if you're +1, you can ult. That's a good time to ult. Even, -1, +1, all perfectly valid points to ult. It's only when you get those huge sways of +2 or -2 is when you should actually really consider it. Obviously, if you're +2 and you just want to cull, it's like not an ult, so who cares? Like, yeah. Probably could have won the fight if you culled faster. Or culled earlier, at least. Right here, this silence should be your planning period. You have 2 ults coming up, 3 ults coming up, and they have a bunch, but who cares? You have 3 ults coming up, 4 ults maybe, but 3 ults very easily, so you have to have a plan.
Looks like
It's tab, and then you plan.
they're going main.
They're
At
left.
least Doom
I
is.
got the Doom left.
Yeah, so like, great scouting, but you have to have a plan.
They're going their room.
Yeah.
So Doom's gonna come
They're
from
taking high
behind
ground.
left.
They're going up top. They're going up top to the slam. They're going up top to the slam.
Get my
Right,
ult
Doom
up.
down.
Group.
Group in the room. Let's get in the room here.
Right here, if you just backed off and you high noon from here, there's not much they can do. Yes, you're low, but like, And I mean, you should be engaging with this. Like right here when you get the boop, perfect time to ult. Even just getting him, good use.
Oh, I didn't counter. I'm sorry.
I will just walk into that.
Don't go for the mass amounts of people if someone's nanoed, go for the nano target. Especially if they have no mobility.
Sorry.
Always make sure that you get your shield out too when you ult, just for a tiny bit of
Walked into
cover.
that charge. I'm sorry.
Either you can, like, if you're here, you can put it like in the air sort of, so when you do float up, you'll be somewhat covered from enemy fire and CC, but anywhere is better than nowhere.
Sorry.
Maze low.
Mine is crazy.
Yeah, so you guys went down a bunch. I mean, obviously I didn't tell you to start counting till later, but you should count this, and you should know when you're low and when it just turns into a reset, or if it's control and you have control, when it turns into a stall. That's sort of the only... If you're in control of the point and you want to stay in control of the point for longer, that is when reset is not... That means to try your best to stall it out and not die. But if you're not in control of the point, like if they had it here, then it's die as fast as possible.
Shit.
Or get back out it, like, to safety.
Alright, 43%. That was good. We held it for a while.
We got it.
When we engage, want to hold up shield when we reach point, and I can high noon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get up. Let's get up.
I have
top
beat
so
as
we
well.
can- Let's get up
Okay.
top so we can high noon.
Okay, going
Cool,
up,
cool,
going
cool.
up.
They're getting high ground too.
Behind, Doom
Yeah.
behind. He's here, he's here.
You guys deal with it. Get back here.
Shizgo, yeah, Shizgo.
Yeah, I might have to do high noon here.
Yeah.
You're walled off.
You're walled.
Broke the wall.
Don't countercharge. Good. Good.
You're actually only even here, which is pretty impressive because they killed your Lucio on entrance and then killed 2 more. You only got 3. So, can keep ulting. So this ult isn't actually bad at all. It's not over because you still only have 3 people up.
Good job.
Back from spawn.
I should have.
Here, let's just,
Oh, we know once they come.
Where
let's
is he?
engage them up top because they just love going up there.
10-4.
Can't see my shield, but it's in the doorway. You can jump top right side.
No, he's still alive somewhere.
Don't like behind it.
Third.
Drop
They're
him.
under.
Yeah.
Got it. Doing cool. Son of
Again, make sure that you are in a safe position when you call. You can always use, so the things you can do before call is use every single one of your cooldowns because they will all be back up, more or less. Fade in particular will be back up. But so fading before just to get some amount of positioning is a pretty good tech. Just because you can't, if you get through your entire goal, you'll have it back. This was good dropping altogether. You might want to drop onto them since you guys are brawl, and you get a little more like value out of that. And then this is good staying high ground.
I didn't know he had that.
Remember to tap your shield out so that you can shield dance if you have to, especially on control points. That's a. Why did you leave high ground? The fuck?
Son of
I
a.
didn't know he had that.
You just jump off. No, just stand right here and shoot them. You don't even have to AD strafe. Just like click on them. Again, don't leave high ground for no reason. There's like here you guys left high ground for the point. That's fine. You might want to drop onto them or drop away from them depending on your idea. This was sort of dropping away from them, but like McCree shouldn't leave high ground. Like Moira, you should be careful of it. I mean, even Sigma should be a little careful of it and wary of dropping, just because you're a ranged hero.
Doom down.
The
Wings that start.
Hit.
Might have to drop loose. They went high ground.
Yep.
Okay, they have hardly any range, so let's just put up your shield on the other wall and we'll let
We
our
can put our
DPS
tippy toe on the wall on the point. They gotta push in.
Yeah. Well, the point's not unlocked yet. I'm gonna.
3.
If you're fighting into a shield with shields, just stay behind the shield to shoot the other shields, because then you don't die.
Sigma's walled off. Let's get him out.
I'm okay.
Alright.
Doom's right.
Doom, right side.
Right, get in.
You gotta have an idea of where your shield is, and if it's not helping you, then drop it and pull it back so that you can use it again. Just because it is on a 1 second cooldown now, that you actually have to be wary. Nice rock.
Oh man.
Because if you just put a shield right here, your Ryan would have lived.
Run low. Got
You
him.
guys trade. They're gonna win this because you're out of
I
position.
might have you go Diva against these guys. 'Cause I can tell when he's gonna lose, because every time they do that particular fucking chart.
I'll Doom in. He's back up. Hello.
Regroup.
Do your best before the point locks to contest, even if it means dying. It usually is worth it. There are some instances that you should just back off and like play patient and then re-engage to take it at a lower percentage. This is not one of them because you're not like that's if you have your Rhine and Moira and then like your 2 DPS alive basically. If you go down 2 people.
Full regroup.
Alright, we're all here.
Nice, right? Nice, right?
I have Shatter here. It looked like he was
Good rotation in to about here.
trying to sneak
Go
one.
for Doom.
Maze one.
Left.
Doom's left. Don't worry. Push him off.
You baited wall, which is
I'm gonna
good.
pull.
Alright, main no wall, let's push in.
At this point, you need to be very aggressive. And counter charge. Nice try with the beat.
Great,
Alright, I'm
great
just
beat.
gonna back up.
They used all their ults on us, right? Everything with Blizzard?
I think a good tip is just calling out either what ult you died to or what ults you've seen, just so it gets people in the mind of figuring out what ults they have and what ults they used. Because, I mean, even here. Oh, okay.
I'm gonna pull.
Alright, main no wall, let's push.
Coalescence.
Yeah,
That's
push in.
it's yours. Okay. So, you guys should know that you're grabbed. You should know that you got hit by a meteor strike. Someone should know that they got shattered, or at least say it.
Great,
You should maybe hear the Zarya nano, even though
Alright, I'm just
great
gonna
I
beat.
don't think anyone dies to it.
back up.
They used all their ults on us, right?
They used 4, so I mean, they have 2 more.
Everything with Blizzard?
That Doom's crazy.
Mine's up.
We need that cleanse.
Yeah.
Maybe let's get on point first and get them grouped up.
Yeah.
Slept Doom top right.
Doom's a rig.
You should be using these ults now. You want to engage on them. They're trying to play defensive. They don't... Like, they're not gonna all stand in a circle together because you want to use your ult.
My bad. Shouldn't have
So
rolled
just, like, ult them and see what cooldowns you can pull out of them.
Can you go now?
Yep.
You guys trade, but this could have been a not trade if you just sig ulted some of them. You don't need to get more than one. You just need to get one.
He's a little charge happy.
Got the.
Okay, you guys just lose this. I didn't. So, like, help you to.
He's right side. Be careful.
Yep.
Oh, water.
Junkie's right side. Be careful.
Yep.
Good getting your turrets up.
Oh,
Good boop.
oh, nice.
Sorry, super low.
Yep.
Counter charge.
Run.
Sorry, dead. So,
Be right.
we're at point 4.
Do you just leave the Rhine to...
Be right.
Sorry, dead. So,
He just leaves.
You're
Okay.
right.
we're at point 4.
The objective
Stop counting after 2. Doesn't really matter. Like, you can just say 1. And that's the state.
is now active.
Or, like, you can count how many people are... You can literally look at your spawn and figure out how many people are coming back so that you know how much you're fighting as.
This will heal you.
Alright, so we're gonna
Ashes
hold down
behind. Ashes behind. She's by herself on.
Will heal you.
So we're
Ash is
hold down.
behind.
Alright, so we're gonna
Ash
hold
is
down.
behind. Ash is behind.
How do
She's-
you
Ash is
die
behind.
to this?
This will heal you.
Alright, so we're gonna
Ash is
hold down.
behind.
You can fade. It will cleanse burn. I don't know if you just did it though.
This will heal. This will heal you.
Alright, so we're gonna
Ash
hold
is
down.
behind.
Yeah, you have fade.
Ash is behind.
Yeah, so you can cleanse it. That's just it's a knowledge thing. That Somber Translocate, Reaper Fade, Moira Fade, May Ice Block, Zarya Bubble. I think that's more or less it. Those all cleanse. They all cleanse stuff. So Burn is the easiest one to cleanse. They don't cleanse Hack. They don't. Most of them cleanse Anti. I think the only one that doesn't cleanse Anti is May. Zen Trans also fits into that, but that's less so. Yeah, they all cleanse Burn. They all cleanse more or less Anti. What's another status effect? They all cleanse the freeze timer, so May has to freeze you for a bit before she actually freezes you. They all cleanse that. That's why if you're in a May 1v1, you will like freeze till you get to the very end, and then you can flash cryo and keep freezing because it will cleanse that off. The same thing with Reaper, same thing with Moira. I think Simtelli might do it too, but I'm not real sure. I doubt that though.
Behind. She's by herself on
Yeah, so you shouldn't die here. You should like that's just knowledge that you know you can cleanse it.
mini.
Or you also need to ask for help so that if you know you're gonna die, you need to be able to deal with that.
She's
down
right
with
side
you.
now.
Yep.
She's right side now. Heals up. Heals up.
My shield's gone.
Alright.
Run, 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 run. Run down.
Got him. Got him. Got him. Got him. Got him.
You guys are up. You guys are up.
Just play very. What the? Oh my. Okay, you know that people are here. This is not a safe rotation or transition. You go this way to get back to your team.
Even.
I think you guys are on point, right? Yeah, that's fine. That's unlucky.
No.
Ash is
Against Junk, try to get your shield to the ground so that he can't bounce things under it, just because that's a very easy way of...
still pushing right side.
Go.
Get into position.
Sorry, super low.
Junkie one on point.
We're gonna.
If you are sort of lower, or like one of the last people to die, put your shield closer to yourself for yourself so that you can shield dance.
Oh. Yeah.
Be careful here,
I can
Daniel.
call it out a little longer.
I've got wall. We can
Nice attempt. You're off by a second, but that's fine.
engage on that. Go main.
Second out.
You somehow get out.
Wall and then we'll TP.
Okay.
Oh no, I don't think we can. Let's see if we can get up
Up one.
here.
Push up. They lost their Ash.
Yeah.
Trap on the floor. Trap
Even.
on the floor. Got it.
Even.
Nice.
TP.
Alright,
TP.
TP's up.
TP.
Good
Let's
TP.
go. I got beat this fight.
Make sure your Rhine goes first, but yeah.
Block.
This was a good boop, but I think it just went unnoticed.
Block.
Oh!
Run, 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 run.
As Ryan, always make sure that the hammer comes down, else you, or even as a shield tank, always make sure the hammer comes down. If it goes hammer and you don't hear, like, you don't hear the smacky part, if he says hammer down and he doesn't get the, like, crunch animation, basically, like, he hasn't shattered, so it's still coming. because a Lucio can boop him up, an Ashe can boop him up, right? If he jumps from high ground for some reason, like there's plenty of things that you just boop him up with, and it gives you more time to deal with it. Meaning getting a shield out, meaning your reaction for shield has to be like can be slower and stuff.
Slow run, slow run, slow run. He's one. Nice, nice, nice.
Junk tire, junk tire.
This is pretty decent positioning on your end for the Cole.
Run, run, run.
Like this positioning in their team, little less so, but like this rotation is pretty good because you're behind a shield. This is like sort of the only reason.
Slow run, slow run, slow
But
run.
you're also getting most of them, and then as you rotating back this way, just because it's safer. This is good.
He's one. Nice, nice, nice.
Junk tire, junk tire.
Yeah, so this was a very good call because you kept the enemy or your team in front of you and the enemy team over here. Even just if you use your Rhine to pivot around the enemy Rhine so that you're here, you need to draw this line so that it always happens. So if it happens that your Rhine moves over here, you have to move over here so that you can still draw this line. And if the enemy Rhine moves over here, you have to move over here to draw this line still. So this was a good call. Right here, you just need to start making a plan of what you're going to use. You have two ults, basically.
Right
Oh,
side.
so take TP.
Allow me to repair the damage.
They're coming main.
Nice eat. Nice eat. Nice charge.
Run bomb.
Ryan, push
Running
back.
Nice, nice, nice.
Nice pivot into them, or pivot into the Bob to get the stun on him. And
Run, 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 run.
Run bomb.
Ryan, push
Running
back.
Rock is less important than shield.
Nice, nice, nice.
Rock is very unimportant compared to shield.
Run, 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 run.
Flux is up.
We're 90%. So next fight, what do we have? We have Flux. We may have Wall. Blossom is really close too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
next
can get
fight we
Wall
win, we
quickly.
win the game.
Smoke him out of there.
What's the plan?
If we could try and push main, I can get wall quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got the trap. Let's go.
Where's the TP?
No, no.
Oh, no,
it's
no, no, no TP, no TP.
Okay.
Better go main.
Go main, go main, go main.
Alright, wall's going
Careful
up.
with Ryan Shatter.
Nice block. See how many people you got? You got one. Good job.
Tire, tire, tire. I was the only one.
Lucio,
Blossom.
Nice,
Awesome.
Down, Daniel. Oh my god. I've been waiting to say that all match, bro.
Ash, Ash, Ash. She's behind. She's behind.
Gotcha.
I have 13 health.
Oh,
I
Thank
got
you.
his on, I'll get his on.
I was so scared that dynamite got me so.
Oh!
Counter
There's like counter charge. Good job, man.
Score.
Yeah, so I think this was a good engage. I want to watch it back again. Sorry for the pause.
Alright, wall's going
Careful
up.
with Ryan Shatter.
Good block as well. Good engage.
Tire,
Not a good fade.
tire. Oh, that was the only one.
We shield up.
Blocks him.
Yeah, you need to get shield up. Rock is not important. You need to just put your shield somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah, this is not good to have no shield at the very end of a fight. Even just using it same as a bubble and just like pushing it into the enemy team, perfect. Like it doesn't matter if it gets broken.
Oh my
You
god.
just need to like you're playing like a hog sort of because you're not using the good part of your kit basically. Like your rock is probably like C plus tier maybe. Your shield is like A plus tier. So use this part more. Your grasp is like probably B. That's not a B. There we go. B. And like existing is like about a B.
Waiting to say that all match, bro.
Yeah, so this is good. But just like having a bubble, having a shield there just to like split off some amount of
Ash.
like CC
Behind.
or even
Behind.
damage coming
Okay.
in.
I have 13 health.
Oh,
I
Thank
got
you.
his on, I got his on.
I was so scared that dynamite got me so.
Oh!
Anyway, this was pretty good. Yeah. I guess going forward, just try counting and just remember the +2 -2 rules and just ulting first and just sort of engaging with it because like you're getting good at engaging, but like remember to let your team take some damage before you actually use it, and then Jojo, you need to actually engage with your ult, not just save it for like mid-fight. Yes, I know you want to get kills and everything, but you're better off pulling out a lot of resources and a lot of cooldowns from the enemy team instead of getting kills. That's when Flux is actually very helpful, is when you pull all of the cooldowns from them. And then obviously using your shield more just to get it out, and remembering that you have a shield, because it seems like you're sort of putting it out and just like it's not a set and like it's not like Xenorb where you can just like set and like do something else for 5 minutes. It's something where you have to actively use your shield. Yeah, be a little more safe, I guess, with your you have good aggression, but just be a little more safe of getting in front of your tanks, I guess. Then remember to keep your beam in between the two people of things. Go for the flanks, but remember to like pull back to the same, like only go as so far as you can without being able to come, like if you can't come back, that's too far basically. And I mean, good Flux playing, I guess, to be honest. Just make sure that you always have your turrets up, especially on Sim, and then Torb, make sure that you have decent turret placement, and then tell your team where to play, because I think on Temple, you guys need to be more considerate of where your turret is, just because it does a lot of damage. And so either tell your team where you're putting it so that they know, or your team needs to be actively looking for it, basically, which is harder on their part. So tell your team where your turret's range is, so like if it covers this, tell them they can play in this area or play in this sight line of it.